If you're trying to lose weight right now, just like me, right, and you're absolutely exhausted, the whole calorie counting thing, right, then this video is for you. Because let's think about it, right? What's the very first piece of advice people give you when you're trying to lose weight? You know, track your food, count your calories, right? Make sure there's a calorie deficit, right? And you download the app or whatever, right? There's like an app for it for counting calories, right? And suddenly you're like constantly weighing your food and making sure that the calorie is not very high, constantly, debating whether to eat this food or not, right? And I feel like it can get very exhausting. But scientists actually found another way to diet that is way easier and simpler than calorie counting, but leads to the exact same weight results. So the actual research paper is a little bit boring, so I'll just break it down for you, okay? So here's how they did the experiment. The researchers at the University of Adelaide wanted to basically settle this debate of which is easier. Is it intermittent fasting or is it calorie restriction? Right? And they basically took 200 adults who wanted to lose weight. And they divided the group into two groups. The group A basically went into the classic route of calorie restriction. They had to cut their food intake by 30% every single day. That means tracking every meal, every bite, basically 7 days a week, right? Constant vigilance, right? And the group B was a bit different. They had to do intermittent fasting. They didn't have to count a single calorie, right? Instead, they were just given this eating window from 8 a.m. to the noon, basically. And the other 20 hours, they just had to fast, meaning no eating nothing, right? They could only eat between 8 a.m. to the noon. And they only had to do this for 3 days a week. And the other 4 days, they didn't have to do anything. No tracking, no fasting, whatever. They just had to be normal again, right? No need for diets, basically. And think about it, right? One group for 7 days is constantly doing this, math game, right? 24/7, right? While the other group is basically going only for 3 days. And they had a very simple decision. Is it eating time or is it not eating time? And that's it. So let's look at the results then, right? So after 6 months, they brought everyone back. The researchers basically looked at the data, right? And here is one thing they found. They found that both groups lost exact same amount of kilograms on average. Both groups lost 7 kilograms on average, meaning both groups had a tie, right? But here's the crazy part. They also measured something else called dietary restraint. Now, this is different than physical weight. Dietary restraint is more mental. If you never heard this word, what this basically means is the amount of willpower it takes to constantly police your food. That's what you call dietary restraint, right? And the data showed that the calorie counting group suffered a big mental fatigue because they are constantly fighting their own urges, their own brain, right? They're doing math, right? Trying to make sure that they're always on a calorie deficit, right? And feeling guilty if they went over their limit, right? It's like having another job, right? But the fasting group was really different. Their job was very simple. They lost the exact same amount of weight, but with way less mental load. And you might ask why, right? Well, it's probably because with fasting, your decisions are very simple. You don't have to, when you take a bite of food, you don't have to constantly think about the calories, right? Instead, the clock just makes decision for you, right? Is it 8 a.m. to noon? I eat. If it's not, then I don't eat. and that's it. If in the Meaning their decision is very, very simple, right? And that makes it so that you don't have to constantly have this mental debate with yourself, trying to constantly defeat your urges, right? You don't have to do it. Oh, it's eating window, I eat. If it's not eating window, I don't eat. That's it, right? And here's the takeaway here, right? If you like counting calories, right, and it's working for you, then I think you should keep doing it. Whichever diet works for you, you should keep doing that, right? But if you're like me, right, who doesn't really like the whole calorie counting thing and constantly logging food, right? And if you don't like that, I think you should give it a try to intermittent fasting. I've tried it and I noticed it's way easier, at least to me, right? And science is giving you a green light too. They're also saying it's much easier, right? So, what do you think of this? Did you guys try both? I would like to know about it. So please leave a comment and say which one did you have much easier time doing. If you never tried it, I would really recommend trying intermittent fasting. And another thing to point out is when we say there's eating window and between 8 a.m. to noon, right? It doesn't mean that during this 4 hour you should just be eating like crazy, right? You should still try to eat very less. During this 4 hour, if you can eat less and the rest of the hours, if you just fast, I think that is the best way to lose weight. I mean, so let me know your opinions on this.